Shalom, fam. This is Or Ibri, author of Making Your Enemy Your Footstool, investor and consultant, and I'm coming to you today with a reading from the book entitled Making Your Enemy Your Footstool: How to Use the American System to Your Benefit as a Black Individual in America. As you all know, this is my self-published book, and I'm going to do a reading today. I want to do a reading from the physical health section of the book, which is in chapter 6, entitled Self-Preservation and Health, Physical, Mental, and Spiritual. The English word physical derived from the Latin word physica, which means things relating to nature. The root word of physical is physique, which derived from the Greek word physique, which means knowledge of nature. All of these terms also relate to medicine, which ties back to being healed by nature. The most natural thing we interact with are the foods in which we eat. What we consume are the building blocks for our physical health. So much so that when our skin regenerates itself, which happens approximately every 27 days, the new skin cells are created from the food we have consumed. When we think of physical health, we think of lifting weights, running, swimming, etc. But your body gets the endurance, energy, and power to swim, run, and lift weights from the foods that we consume. To improve our physical health, we must first improve the foods that we consume. The foods that we consume come from the education we received about those foods. This education about food is often passed down from the individual or individuals that raised us, and most of us have been miseducated in regards to food. Some of our miseducation we have been taught includes fats are bad, breads are good for us, artificially sweetened items are healthier choices for our bodies. For example, diet drinks are better for us than regular drinks. Another example of miseducation is pork and shellfish are okay for us to consume. These are all schools of thought that has led us to lead the country in some of the most deadliest diseases known to man. Some of these diseases include heart disease, hypertension, colon cancer, diabetes, and many other ailments. All of these diseases are directly tied to a poor eating regimen, which has been rooted in the miseducation about food. When we touched on the definition and root of the word physical in the beginning of this section, everything tied back to nature and knowledge of nature. Nothing in our everyday environment is supposed to be more natural than the foods we eat. And the natural foods that we eat contain the elements of nature that are also a part of our body, from the earth to our bodies. Elements such as phosphorus, iron, potassium, copper, cobalt, molybdenum, calcium, and many others. But how do we gain the understanding for the foods and how to use them properly to nourish our bodies? The foods that we eat, first off, this is what we have to realize. This that we're wearing, this skin right here, this is our earth suit. Our spirit lives inside of this earth suit. This earth suit right here is our dominion. This is the earth that we have dominion over. This is the earth that our spirit was given dominion over. Everything that's in your body is the same. All the elements in your body are the same elements that are in the earth. So if you want to have dominion over your earth, you have to make sure that you're eating a diet that is of the earth. So consuming foods that are unnatural, genetically modified, all of those types of foods are foods that will wreak havoc and destroy your earth suit. So that's why it's very important to make sure that the foods that you're eating come directly from the earth. And also coming directly from the earth that that food is in has to be properly nourished, because that's where the food is getting its nourishment from. So if the earth that you're growing your food in is deficient of nutrients, then the food is going to be deficient of nutrients, and then your body is going to be deficient of nutrients. That's how it works. That's why a lot of us are deficient. We're like, a lot of people are like, man, I'm eating healthy. I'm eating salads. I'm eating fish. I'm eating nuts. I'm eating oils. I'm eating all of these things. Why when I go to the doctor and get my blood work done, I'm still deficient? It's because wherever you're getting your food from, they aren't properly putting nutrients into the soil that they're growing their food from. They're just trying to make a buck. And our food is suffering, and because our food is suffering from this type of system, we're suffering from this type of system. So we have to make sure that we properly nourish the earth, which properly nourishes our food, which then properly nourishes us. If we do not, then we will continue to have health ailments and have health problems. Some of the ways that we can control this is stop focusing on convenience. Many of us are content with, you can go to the grocery store, get what you want when you want it, and that works for you. But that is wreaking havoc on your actual body. You have to get out of that. We have to get out of that. You've heard the old adage, easy come, easy go. So if it's so easy for you to go get your food, just think of how harmful that is. Now, if you're going in your yard and you're growing it and you have to put in that work, that sweat, that till, it's a little bit more work, but you know what's going in your soil. You know what you're putting in your soil. You know the benefits that's in your soil. So you're going to get all of that back. And you're going to be healthier because of it. So I know a lot of people, because of the pandemic, have taken the opportunity to start growing their food. That's wonderful. More of us need to do that as well, especially those of us that live in the inner city. A lot of us that live in the inner city live in areas that are called food deserts. And I touch on that in the book as well. Food deserts are areas where they don't have proper healthy foods. So you may have a whole lot. You may have Burger Kings, McDonald's, Panda Expresses, Pizza Huts, churches, Popeyes, whatever. You may have those all in your area, but you don't have a Whole Foods for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. That's a food desert. Not even a Whole Foods. You might not even have a farm. None of that. You don't have any access to any healthy food, even at your local grocery store. It's some grocery stores. Some of you all live in areas where you go to your grocery store. You go to your grocery store in your area, some of you, and then go to, say, a Whole Foods, and you tell me if the produce is the same. Back when Barack Obama was president, he actually did, back when he was president, he actually did a speech on this, where in the inner city or the poorer areas of this nation that we live in, they actually get the lower quality of food. Like, they get the bad versions of the crops. They get the expired crops, or they get the crops that are already going bad or already starting to rot. Like, they get that. The good food goes to the affluent and abundant areas. The bad food goes to the inner cities, to the hoods, to the lower class. That's a problem, because you don't even get the opportunity to pick from the good food. So you get a tomato and you get home and it's already bad, or it goes bad the next day. Like, that's horrible. You get a watermelon and you got to cut mold out the watermelon. Like, that's not acceptable. But that's what that's what those of us who live in the inner city, that's what we are given. So we have to take back control of that by creating our own food. Because if you don't have the proper nutrients, then how can you do anything else? How can you live a productive, successful life if your body isn't getting the proper nutrients? If you aren't getting the right amount of vitamin D, and you're depressed and anxious and nervous all the time, how can you focus on growing what you need to grow as far as like your life and your business? Like, how can you do that if your body is aching because it's always inflamed, because you don't have access to anti-inflammatories like garlic and ginger? How can you even function in life if you're in pain? How can you focus on being better if you're so focused on the aching and hurting that's going on in your body. You can't. So you have to make sure that you take care of this earth. So this is the dominion, the earth that you were given dominion over. This right here. How can you have dominion over the earth around you if you don't have dominion over the earth that you are in, your body? Doesn't go together. So you have to make sure that you do what you need to do to get the proper nutrients and the proper educational nutrients as well. We live in a world where we have these little devices, these devices right here. We use them all day, every day to be entertained. Y'all are using one of these devices probably right now to watch this video. Turn this video off and go look up proper nutrient. Like if you're having an ailment or something, like what foods can I get vitamin D from? What foods can I get vitamin C from? What foods can I get vitamin B from? What foods give me proper iron? What foods give me proper calcium? Like your body needs all of these things. Magnesium, zinc, all of that. You need those things. You got some people out here who's suffering from, you're in a marriage and you're suffering from a low sex drive, and you're like, oh, I'm not attracted to my spouse. No, you're not getting adequate zinc intake. Your zinc levels are low, so your sex drive is low. And you think, oh, I'm not attracted to my spouse, and oh, I need to see other people, or oh, we need to separate, when it has nothing to do with that. Your zinc levels are low, so your sex drive is low. But if you aren't properly educated on that, then you're going to think it's something else that is really not. So you have to make sure that you're properly educating yourself on the nutrients and the nutrients that your body needs and for what purposes you need it for. If not, you're going to be miseducated and you're going to be making bad decisions in life based off of miseducation. You got some people who, they get down and depressed and they commit suicide and they think, oh, life is just terrible, when really they had a vitamin D deficiency. Having a lack of vitamin D causes severe depression. So whatever your issues are become exacerbated, not because they're hard or difficult or you can't get through them, but because you aren't taking in proper vitamin D, the proper levels of vitamin D. As a man, you're like, oh, I'm losing it. I don't have any energy. No, you don't. Your testosterone levels are low because you're exposed to a lot of estrogen producing products. Yeah, I take my lunch to work every day, but you're taking it to work in a plastic container, which causes the estrogen levels in your body to be raised, which causes your testosterone levels to be lowered and causes you not to feel like a man. But if you aren't educated in these things, then you won't know how to fix the problem. You'll think it's something else when it's not that. So make sure that you educate yourself. You get an understanding on health, on benefits, on vitamins, nutrients, nourishment, all of these things. So that way you can be the highest version of your most authentic self. So with that, I want to say peace and shalom. This is Ori Ibri. Y'all have a beautiful day.